Hello, YouTube out there, and welcome to our fifth recap in regards to the Casey Anthony murder trial. I do strongly apologize for not sitting here and not discussing this case earlier. In between this time, I've been watching the trial as it has unfolded in front of 6 million viewers. I want to let you guys know that HLN made a pretty good job in covering the case. So kudos to Vinnie Politan, Jane Velez Mitchell, Nancy Grace, and the Times Dr. Drew. And I'm sorry if I'm leaving any of the other reporters out. You know what? Judge Perry was very, very unfair with the defense team. And some of you viewers must be like, well, so what? So what if he was unfair with them? You know, they're defending this murderer. You know, so what? No, you know what? This is the United States of America, and I felt that every single time that George Baez got up on the stand and he tried to make a point at something, the prosecution would quickly object to it, and Judge Perry, without hesitation, would sustain it. And I want to point out to you the little scenario where George Baez had showed the picture of Casey Anthony, as you all folks know, amongst her little imaginary friends. They objected to that. They did not want that picture of a young Casey Marie Anthony in the middle with the imaginary friends. Therefore, so the jurors won't have any pity or sympathy towards her. But then again, hey, man, that's what the defense was trying to prove. That this young lady, I think she's 26 years old now, as when this happened, she was at the age of 23. That she, you know, she has this mind of a little girl. And that's what they wanted to portray. That at a very young age, she was taught to lie. So in her mind, along with the imaginary friends, this is her state of mind, that of a little 14, 15-year-old. This is why she behaved like a little 14 or 15-year-old. And you know what? Why? Why object to that? What the hell does it matter if he wants to sit there and show the picture of a young Casey Marie Anthony with her little imaginary friends? I could understand why, though, the prosecution objected to that, is because she started, you know, fabricating these imaginary people when her daughter was born. And my feeling and my take as a mother, I'm thinking to myself that the reason why she was sitting there and imagining, well, not imagining, just making all these people up is because of the simple fact that she did not love her daughter and she did not want to disappoint her parents. Therefore, she would sit there and lie and pretend that she's hanging out with all these people, and all these people are sitting there and sustainably taking care of her daughter, and she was actually leaving her daughter alone. I don't know where, in what house, what presence. I still don't know why. I still think that Tony Lozaro has something to do with this. And I stay strongly on this. She did not act alone on this. And I have to also shift this into another direction from my other recaps. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that she did murder her daughter. However, I do think that it was not premeditated. I think that it was an accidental death that did snowball out of control. And no, I do not think that she died in the pool. I think that her mother accidentally overdosed her with chloroform. Why do I think that? Because there was two inmates that could have went up in the stand and spoke on behalf of, actually not even the prosecution, on the defense, towards the defense, to lesser the charges in regards to her getting the death penalty. Because she did tell these two women, and these two women that were in jail, that to put her daughter to sleep from time to time, she would give her chloroform. So my take on this is that Casey Anthony had given her daughter a little bit too much chloroform one night and accidentally killed her. And that's why they did not find her daughter with the shoes or the socks were missing. Because when she got home from partying or wherever she was at, Tony Lozaro's house, whoever, she found her daughter dead. She accidentally killed her. And the reason why, well, this is he say, she say about the tape over the mouth, whether it was there, whether it was not. You know what? She put that tape around there and she dumped her daughter that way to make it seem as if this was a kidnapping that went wrong, that went Ari wrong. But in the fact of the matter is, this was a tragic accident that went horribly wrong. And this is towards the direction that I'm thinking that this is what really happened. I don't know why she came at the last minute, and or the lawyers came at the last minute and said, you know what, let's just make it seem like she died at the pool on July 16th. That was very stupid to do, considering the fact that, are you guys freaking morons? Did you guys see the jailhouse tapes where her daughter, where her, I'm sorry, where her father is sitting there playing cop with her? He was an ex-cop. He's trying to get information out of her. He has no idea that the granddaughter is dead. It's wishful thinking. He's hoping and praying to God that little Kaylee Marie Anthony is alive, ladies and gentlemen. But no, she was already dead. But I really do strongly believe, though, that this was an accidental death that just went horribly and awry wrong. She never had a babysitter. She never had these friends. And the reason why she used to sit there and lie about these friends to her family and her friends is because whenever she used to leave her daughter neglected and alone, she didn't want her family and her friends to think that, she was a neglectful mother. And also, the reason why she lied to her mother about working in the Universal Studios for the past 2 years is because she didn't want to disappoint her family. She has low self-esteem. And so she wanted to make it seem like she was like a hard-working mom, a grown-up Casey Marie Anthony. Well, Casey, now you're sitting in jail, and right now they're deliberating, the jurors, and it's pretty messed up, man, isn't it, Casey, huh? If they was to sit there and find you guilty of felony murder, you're gonna, you know, get the death penalty. And that really sucks, dude, because if you really killed your daughter accidentally, and I must say that is something terrible to do, to put your child to sleep because you want to go out there gallivanting. But hey, man, if it was an accidental death and you messed up, yes, just why couldn't you just confess to it from the beginning? I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the jailhouse tapes. They gave you so many chances to fess up. The cop even had told you, listen, I've dealt with mothers that it's so funny that he has said that children have drowned in pool, or the boyfriend had beat up the baby, or that she accidentally overdosed her. And you could have had that chance, Casey, to sit there and say, hey, listen, you know what? I effed up. I did a mistake. And I am so sorry, but she died and I panicked and I hit the body and I made pretend like there was a Zanny the nanny. You know what I mean? And it just snowballed out of control. Did the father know later on that the truth? Did Casey actually admit it to him and say, hey, listen, Dad, you know what? I gave my daughter chloroform and she accidentally died. And this is what really happened. You know I would never killed my daughter, but this is what happened, Daddy. And I'm scared. Is this why he came and he told the lover, Crystal Holloway, this was a terrible accident that snowballed out of control? That's probably what happened, ladies and gentlemen. What's going to happen? What are they going to say, the jurors? Are they going to say guilty, not guilty? Are they going to say it was through manslaughter, felony murder? Who knows? The whole world was watching today on July 4th, ladies and gentlemen. And I got to give a lot of props to HLN for covering the sensational trial. And I must say that this is a trial of history. I'm telling you, this is like bigger than O.J. Simpson. I remember when I had my daughter, and I'm sitting there watching the O.J. Simpson trial, and I had an abusive partner, and I just couldn't believe him when he got acquitted. Jose Baez is not very bright. Not very bright at all. But I do got to give him credit for his closing arguments. I think he did a rather well job. But the prosecution, they did an excellent job. Did you hear her today on the stand? Towards the end. She said, who would have had a better life without Kaylee? Well, let's see. It could have not been Cindy. It could not have been George. And towards the end, she turns around. She says, the answer's right over there, folks. She turns around. She looks. And there's the picture of Casey Anthony dancing. And right next to it, the tattoo that said Bella Vita. Wow. Like, that's going to be imprinted in the juror's mind for the rest of their life. And then that was pretty clever, wasn't it? To play the 911 tape, to play so much stuff in the rebuttal closing arguments against the defense. Really, really, really blow to the defense. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day. I don't know when the jurors are going to make up their minds. But what do you guys think? How do you think that Kaylee Marie Anthony died? Because that is what is really important here. Nothing else matters. It's just how that little girl died. And, you know, there got to be justice. Justice for Kaylee Marie Anthony. But again, what if her mother really did kill her, but accidentally? You know what I mean? It's bad. You shouldn't sit there and use drugs or use a form of method to put your daughter to sleep and leave her alone and neglected. You know what I mean? Um, but what if it wasn't premeditated? What if it was just an accident that snowballed out of control? You know what I mean? Do you think it's fair that she would get the death penalty? How is it that Casey Anthony thinks her mind? I'm sitting there constantly looking at through all the jailhouse tapes, through all the police interrogations, and listening to her lie like that. It's just very unbelievable. There is something wrong with this girl. There's no dispute over that. No doubt about that. There is something really wrong with Casey Anthony. I do believe that she's narcissistic and a sociopath. What do you guys think? I do notice that when they're sitting there and they're talking about her, that's when she begins to cry. That is a sociopath. I want to know what you guys think. And tomorrow, or whenever they make the decision, whether she is guilty or not, or through manslaughter or through felony murder, I'm going to speak in regards to that. So, by the way, I've seen other people do the same thing that I'm doing, covering the Casey Anthony murder trial, and I think you guys are doing a very, very wonderful job. And I also want to thank everybody that's been sitting there and supporting my vlogs. I really do appreciate it a lot. I really don't have nothing left to say because it's closing time and it's coming to an end. I just hope and I pray to God that whatever the jurors decide is based upon what really happened to Kaylee Marie Anthony. Because at the end of the day, it's all about justice. Everybody, I hope you guys had a great 4th of July and you have a great night.